Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Hierarchy of Reads. My name is Tiffany and I'm so glad to be back because it has been a long time since I have filmed anything. And I had every intention of coming back to filming this past January, and then, as is kind of the norm for me, I think, I had kind of a whirlwind of events that happened and I really just didn't have the energy. For a long time I talked about how I've been wanting to film and I haven't had the time, and I realized, I think, midway through this year that the reality is not so much that I didn't have the time, but more so that I haven't had the energy to film, nor the energy to really read anything, particularly anything of interest, I think, to a larger audience. And so I have finally been kind of carving out some time now that I have a little bit more energy to do some reading, and I would like to share some of what I have been reading recently with you all. I know that a few months ago I did a video very similar to this where I let you know what I was reading, and then I just kind of never followed up on that. To be honest, I don't even remember what books I was reading then. I think I've already finished them, so I'm just going to start off with the books that I'm reading now and we'll kind of go from there. And so I'm reading a little stack of books at this moment, but the two books that I really have been quite engrossed in are A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, and this is a book that was really popular on the internet a couple of years ago, and I heard quite mixed reviews. People had a lot of what I found to be provocative things to say about this book. Some people thought it was phenomenal, that it took a look at this group of friends' life, particularly Jude, who is one of the main characters' lives, in a very thoughtful way, and dealt with a lot of, traumatic themes in a very good way. And conversely, I heard a lot of opinions of people who thought that this was quote unquote like trauma porn, I think was the name that I heard it referred to as. But essentially they were saying that, it was really just kind of shocking content just for the sake of being shocking. And so I have had it on my list to read for quite a while now. I was really curious what I would think about this, kind of from my own perspective, and so far I've got to say I am really enjoying this. One thing that I heard a lot of people say is that it's so long and it could have been edited or could have been shortened, but I'm learning as a reader that I actually tend to find the books that some people find to be too long, I actually really enjoy them because they really go in depth into every single thing that is happening in this person's mind and in this person's experience. And I have found that I actually really enjoy that. So for instance, in this book we follow Jude, and we're really looking at his present life experiences, and then through this and everything that's happening, we hear more about what's happened in his past. And to be able to find out about really almost every facet of his experience, I find to be quite enjoyable. If you can call it that. There's a lot of hard stuff in here, and there's some stuff in here that I have kind of marked that when I do a wrap up on this book that I kind of want to talk about. But I'm really enjoying this book so far. I'm only on page 244 of like 800, so it's going to take me a while to get through this again. Even though I do have a little bit more time and more energy to read than I used to, it's still pretty short in terms of the time and energy, so it'll take me a while to read this, but I am really enjoying this. One of the other books that I am really engrossed in is this. It is The Selective Works of Audre Lorde, edited and with an introduction by Roxane Gay, and I love this. I read a short Penguins Classics of Audre Lorde's writing a while back, and I really immediately connected with it. I love the way that she writes. I love the way that she explains things. This has a collection of her essays and also some of her poetry. I will say that I think her essays resonate with me a little bit more than her poetry, but perhaps that's because, I'm a little bit, I think, unsophisticated when it comes to poetry. Some stuff I think goes over my head, but her essays, wow, they are powerful. Her writing makes me cry. Like, it's so bizarre the way that she writes about her experiences. It's so powerful to me. And what sticks out to me is that even though she was writing a lot of this stuff, I think in the 70s, 80s, and about times before then, when it comes to the topics of race in America, sexuality in America, gender in America, and how all these things intersect, it really reads as though it's written by somebody today. And that really makes me sad to know that it's been so long. And although, yes, we have come far in many ways, in many more ways, in my opinion, I think we still have so far to go. And so Audre Lorde, I think, is very quickly becoming one of my favorite authors of all time, and I would highly recommend that you do some reading of her writing because it is phenomenal. I am reading through a few other things, though I'm really so far just kind of dipping in and out of them. I haven't really gotten too in depth into any of these. So as I go through, I'll just give a quick kind of update if I have anything particular to say. Other than that, I'll just kind of show you. I have started The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I think just because I've heard this mentioned so many times and I don't really even know, I didn't know what it was. And I think I'm about a third of the way through and I'm very underwhelmed. I've often heard of this, I've heard this referenced as like, this really phenomenal piece of writing and phenomenal pieces of life advice. And yeah, some things are fine, but to me, nothing is really striking about this. And it also comes from, I think, a perspective that I don't necessarily subscribe to. Not to say that that makes it entirely invaluable to me, but it is something that I have noticed. And so I do plan on finishing this, but I don't think that this is going to be anything that I particularly report enjoying after I'm done. I've also started reading The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity, and Love by Bell Hooks. I have heard so much about Bell Hooks' writing, and so far I'm only I only read through the first chapter, so I'm only on page 17. And I really do like this so far. I decided to pick this one up because on my TikTok For You page, a lot of like snippets of Bell Hooks' writing would be, shown on there, and I was like, man, that's so good. Ooh, that's so nice how she said that. And, and so I finally wanted to get into some reading. I do plan to get more into this. It's simply that these other two books that I talked about in the beginning are really where I'm spending my time and energy. But when I'm done with those, I will have more time for this as well. I also picked up Hidden Valley Road, Inside the Mind of an American Family by Robert Kolker. And this book is about a family of people. I think the majority of them end up being diagnosed with schizophrenia, and it talks kind of about their life. I don't really know much about this beyond that. I picked this up about a month ago and only got to chapter 2 and haven't really touched it since then. Again, this is something that I do want to continue on reading, but the other two works are what I've really been focusing on. So once I'm finished with those, I should have more time for this as well. And last but not least, I picked up 2 books to kind of skim through. In my work, I lead skills groups, and part of that skills group is leading mindfulness exercises, and so I wanted to kind of expand my repertoire of mindfulness exercises, and so I picked up You Are Here by Thich Nhat Hanh, and this is just kind of a bunch of different musings about mindfulness and life and things like that. So I thought I would read through this in case I find anything that I want to incorporate into my mindfulness practices, exercises, or teachings. And I also picked up Guided Buddhist Meditations, Essential Practices on the Stages of the Path by Thubten Chodron. I'm probably mispronouncing that and I apologize. So it doesn't fully apply in terms of me using this for my skills group, but I really do like reading this. Although I do not identify as Buddhist, I don't practice any kind of Buddhist practices, but it is very interesting to read what meditation and mindfulness is through the Buddhist lens. And so I will probably continue to read this as well. And those are all of the books that I am currently reading. Please let me know in the comments down below what you're reading, what you've recently loved, or if you have read or are reading any of the books that I've mentioned here, I'd also love to know your take on them. I plan on uploading a video here soon about books that I have recently acquired in 2022 because I'm actually really working on reducing the books that I have and not buying many more unless I absolutely need them for one reason or another, because I do intend to move again in the next year or so, and I just don't want to haul all my books back and forth anymore. It's very, very annoying. And so I don't have too many to share, but I will be making that video. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the videos ahead, and until then, please be well.